Howdy, folks, and welcome to Moose Podcast number 342, Spring 23 Questions. Hey, how you guys doing? I trust you're all well. I want to thank you all again who showed up at the event Precision Camera there in Houston and went to the hangar. What a great time those 2 days were. I was really tickled pink. So many were podcast listeners, and you came up and you admitted you're a podcast listener, and I'm grateful for that and all your kind words. So, thank you, folks, ever so much. It was a little bit quiet on the email front this week. I'm assuming that's because it's spring where you are and you're out enjoying it. I have had a great time at the ranch. We've got all sorts of birds doing that birds and the bee thing, and excited as heck to have all three species of nuthatch nesting here at the ranch this year. It's been a ton of fun. I want to thank my good friend at Bedford's Camera, bedfords.com, home of the Moose 5% discount. Yeah, baby. Those folks are cranking it up. I'll be doing a bird talk for them in June, so be watching for the information for that. Brand new presentation on bird photography. What else they got going? Well, they've got all sorts of great, events, sales. They got that Massive conference coming up May 5th through 7th with my good friend Dixie Dixon and a bunch of other great shooters there at Eureka Springs. Great facility. Hey, they've got great inventory, good stuff, good people, God, great prices and shipping. Already mentioned that Moose discount. Hey, give them a call. You need help. You need to buy something. And remember to thank them for sponsoring the Moose podcast because I know I do all the time. So thank you, Bedfords. So this podcast again is being recorded using the Adobe Podcast Beta. So there will be a transcript on the blog post of this podcast. So it's there for you to download. It's a PDF. It's still in beta. It's not the most perfect form of a transcript, but a number of you have actually said you like it. So I'm going to keep doing it and keep using the beta because it makes my life simple. But I want to make sure you know it's there. I need to jump into this week's episode, Spring 23 Questions, because I've got one, two, three, four. I got 6 questions here that I'm going to take on. Let's see here. I'm going to take them as the emails showed up. So the latest, the last email will be the last question. So the first one's from Rain. The first one is from Ray about rain. Yes, Moose, doing good here. All right. Ray asked, "Do you shoot in the rain?" Yeah, I do. So Ray, I have a basic rule of thumb that if I can stand the rain, so can the camera gear. And knock on wood, to this point in time, I've never had in all my decades a single issue from weather taking my gear down. Now, this is, I think, the most important part. I don't, you got to remember that I am not shooting sports where I have to, no matter how bad the rain is, go out and shoot. So because of that, I'm only doing it to where I'm comfortable. So for that reason, I don't have any kind of covering on the gear. That's for 2 reasons. The main one is that cover, unless you put it on perfectly dry gear, so if your gear has any moisture on it, the moisture is going to be on the inside of that cover, and there are really big odds that that cover is going to force that moisture into crevices where it shouldn't go. Now, with that in mind, whenever I'm shooting in the rain, I have a dry white towel with me. I'm beginning to be well known for talking about that white towel because it's real simple. That white towel I use to dab gear dry. I do not wipe it gear. I let osmosis work, so the towels suck up water, than trying to rub it dry. Because when you rub it dry, it's kind of like that plastic cover on your gear. You're going to force that moisture in the places it shouldn't be. And hey, we're working with ungrounded computers, those cameras, they don't want that moisture there. So, that's what I do. Now, one other caveat that I need to remind folks, I am shooting with the Nikon gear, the Z9 and the other Z mirrorless lenses, which have more or less weather protection. It's not like bulletproof, but it's meant to take as much moisture as I can take. So, Ray, that's what I do. So, it's a great question. Thanks for sending it in. Next one is from Liz, and this is a really common question. Not sure why people ask it, but what's your favorite lens? And I'm going to be really honest here, Liz. My favorite lens is the one that is communicating the story that I want to tell. And I know, Liz, you're looking for a focal length and an f-stop in a particular model, but I don't have one lens. People always ask me, if you only had one lens, what would you do? In all honesty, I wouldn't take pictures because that's why there's so many lenses out there, because we all have a different way in which we want to tell a story, and the lenses is how we literally focus in on that story. Now, with that said, my kit is probably smaller than most photographers. When I go, well, for example, I'm just back from shooting on Boulevard Flats. God, that was a great shoot. Unbelievable shoot. If you haven't seen the top of the website, the Avocets, you should. That's from Boulevard Beach. Well, at Boulevard, I only took three lenses. I took my 800 AFS, I took the Z 400 45, and I took the Z 24 120. That's all I took because my main subject were birds. I'm taking off, or I'm at, I'm mentally taking off. I'm up at Maggie Marsh shooting, and the Z 400 45 with the 1.4. That's it, man. That's it. So, my favorite lens, I have a number of them. Some of them are long stay. Some come and I have them in my kit as long as I'm doing a project, and then they go. Because the one thing that is important to remember, at least when you're talking about myself and my gear, is as long as I'm in business, the gear has to make money. If it's just sitting here and it's not bringing any income, I cannot afford to have paperweights. So, hope that helps, Liz. John asks, is there something you want to photograph that you haven't yet? You've been doing it for a long time. Yeah, well, John, there are two critters that I would like to, and here's the important to understand this. I don't want to just take a shot and say I photographed it. I want to spend quality time, a bunch of it. The two critters I really want to spend a lot of quality time with are the black-footed ferret and the wolverine. And I've really got a hankering again for the red knot. That's really back on my radar. But it's those two mammals are probably the things that been on that list for such a long time that I would really, really love to spend some time with. There are others, and to be honest with you, John, there are subjects that I have photographed that I would really love to go back and photograph them now. I haven't photographed them for a long time. First thing comes to mind is the Salmon King kit fox. It's probably been 6 years now. And that's a critter I spent a couple of decades with. I love to go back with how I see the world now and the tools I have in my kit and see what photographs I would come back with. But John, those are the ferret and the wolverine are the top of the list. So thanks for asking. Mary's got a question that a lot of people are asking. Do I use AI? Now, Mary, I got the impression you were wondering if I go to one of those AI sites, and I don't know. I've never been to those sites, but from what I read, you go and you tell it what you want, and then you put in your quarter, and all of a sudden it comes out with that whatever that is you told it. Yeah, no, I don't do that. Now, do I use AI in what I've been doing? Yeah, AI has been around for a long time. It starts with things that start off, that, at least that I know about, with the magic wand a number of years ago. Make a click and it just selects the subject for you. That's AI that's powering that. And then ever since they brought out the mask, the AI mask in Adobe Camera Raw, I've been using it. And now everybody this week just got the Denoise AI, which is a phenomenal tool if you have noise or have introduced noise in your workflow. So in that aspect, Mary, yeah, I'm using AI, and no, I don't worry about it. There's a line in a movie, a Tom Hanks movie, Bridge of Spies, where the bad guy, the Russian, is going to court, and Tom Hanks says, "Aren't you worried?" And the Russian says, "Would it help?" And then he's about to be sentenced to death, and Tom Hanks says, "Aren't you worried?" And he says, "Would it help?" And then he's about to go across the bridge back to possibly being killed by his comrades, and Tom Hanks says, "You probably aren't worried." And he goes, "It wouldn't help." So I don't worry about those things because it wouldn't help, Mary. Uh, there are people who are going to always go to the dark side. That's for them. That's their problem. It's not mine. You got to remember that Mary, I'm really old fashioned. I get it right in the camera, So I'm still I haven't got past that, so I don't know if there's any hope for me. But I hope that answers your question. So I'm getting down to the last question from Pat, and because I didn't know how long it's going to take me to answer this and be honest, with folks, Pat asks, "Do you see any major changes in your kit in 2023?" Um, Short answer, yeah. Long answer, I had the suspicion that Pat was wondering if there was new Nikon bodies coming out that I could tell him about and say I was going to buy. There's lots of rumors. They're out there. So, a couple of things that folks should understand about the photographic industry, and be it for about editorial as well as for manufacturers. If you are been made privy to privileged information, then normally you have to send an NDA, non-disclosure agreement, which basically says if you open your mouth before the date said you're allowed to, a bolt's going to come from the sky and fry your little ass in the chair, and pff, you're done. That's a real scary proposition. So when you sign an NDA, guess what? Psh, even if somebody tells you, not going to tell anybody. Editorially, there's a lot of times where you write articles and submit photographs, and until those materials actually hit the newsstand, you don't talk about that either. So that's kind of part of the industry. So if somebody's tuning in thinking I'm going to be the one to spill the beans, yeah, no, those announcements are left to those companies, and the reason why anybody be trusted with that information these days is because they were trusted in the past and they didn't say anything. Now, with that said, um, so are there major changes in my kit? Yeah, the first one is the my beloved, gorgeous, beautiful, sweet 180 to 400 VR is no longer in my kit. I sold it this past week. Why did I sell that lens? There's a lot of reasons. The main one is the Z 400 45 showed up last summer, and the 180 to 400, flexible as it is, incredibly sharp as it is, sat here. It was not being used. Kind of goes back to what I was talking about with Liz. It's that's a pricey piece of glass just to sit here, and don't get me wrong, yeah, I miss it. It was a gorgeous lens. I shot and shot and shot that lens, but it's been sitting here for the last 6 months. And I'll be honest with you, I'm getting to the point where carrying heavy stuff is not as much fun as it used to be. And that lens is on their heavier side. And so that's a major change. That lens is gone. And is it being replaced by anything? It was replaced with the Z 400 and sometimes with the 1.4 attached to it. Much smaller, lighter, brilliantly sharp like that lens. So to me, that's a major change. Will I be adding any camera bodies? I don't know what camera body I would be adding at this point. Will I be adding some more lenses? Yeah, there are. I think for sure one, if not two lenses that I would be adding to the kit. Now, the word major uh, makes me wonder if I'm supposed to be talking about something that is earth shattering. And to me, the 18400 is earth shattering. And that might not have been the change that you were thinking about, Pat, but that's what I've done. Um, am I going to go more streamlined and lighter? Yeah, I'm working that way. I am. So time will tell, but I think by October, going to have a bit of a shift. My camera gear, it's going to be lighter and smaller, and in a smaller bag. That includes tripods. I am very excited working with Benro, and I think that they're the tripod of the future. And there's some great stuff coming there that's going to make life better as well. So, to answer your question, Pat, yeah, I do see major changes in my kit in 2023. I hope these answers help you folks. Keep them coming. I do appreciate it. Appreciate all the kind words that you guys send my way. I hope you're out there enjoying the spring. It's going to be a great one. And remember to make every click your story.